Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna be talking about not metaplay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, haha, double sponsoring.
That was the transition slide.
Oh yeah.
Wait, okay.
Oh yeah, I need to go back and.
Let me.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay,
Technical difficulties. It's fine. It's fine. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with metaplay. Sorry. Yes. So I'm gonna talk about how should I do this so you can still see the slides. Can I turn this? Okay. I can. You can hear me from here. Good. So I'm gonna talk about good and bad communication in small teams. So the outline is I'm gonna explain who I am. Why am I talking about this? Then we're gonna first go through like the basis of good communication. Then we're gonna go through a lot of bad communication. Then we're gonna think about what made the bad communication happen. Then we're gonna figure out how to make good communication happen. Then we're gonna like think about different situations that you need to deal with when you're trying to communicate effectively. And then we tie it all up into a neat bow, and then you'll probably walk away with something useful, hopefully. Yes. Okay, so I am Lassi Vapaakallio. I've been making games for 10 years. Mostly non-violent and experimental games, and I've been pretty lucky that I've been doing that as a career for the last like 5-6 years. But that also means that I don't have any fancy cool companies to present to you, because if you're making weird experimental stuff, it doesn't reach usually that big an audience. So I used to study computer science, so I'm a bachelor in computer science with a minor in biotech, and then I have a master of arts in game design and production with a minor in set design, because I'm interested in a lot of different things. And currently I'm working on the prototyping team at Musopia, who does like, I'm creating experiences that combine music and technology and games. And I can't tell you that much about them on stream, but if you want to hear more about that, you can come talk to me after. And why am I talking about this? Because I don't have any big companies to my name. So I just counted, I've done 35 game projects with different groups of people and they're all like 2 to 10 people. And 23 of them have been between teams of like 4 to 8 people. And I spend way too much time thinking about like team communication and making projects fun to work on for everyone involved. That's usually not my job, but that's what I just want to do because I want to have fun. And the caveats are that I've never worked on a project for more than a year. I've never worked on a team with more than 10 people. And most of these projects were passion projects in non-commercial settings. There's like 10 commercial projects included, but if something sounds like, okay, that's not feasible, it might be related to these things. So I'm going to give you all the important information in the first slide. So here's the good communication basis. There's 3 things you need to have. You need to have a common shared vision in the team. You need to have a personal connection to the project, something that you find fun or meaningful. And then you need respect and appreciation for your teammates. If you have these 3 things, it's very likely that the communication is going to go well. So in other terms, what you can do to get there is you should know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You should find the fun for yourself, for everyone. And you should be kind to everyone that you're working with. And yeah, at this point, like it depends on how many times you've gone through the game development ringer, is like how much you've learned these lessons yet. So yeah, the mileage may vary. So to give an example, I'm going to go through a bunch of examples during this. This one is a good example. So it's a game called Josie and Hero. So we had a team what was like a full-time audio designer, a 3D artist, a LARP designer who designs communication between people, and then me as this person who wants to glue this all together. So what we ended up making is a cooperative audio and video game. So the idea is that one person only has the visuals of the game, but no audio, and the other player has only the audio of the game and no visuals. And you're both like moving your own characters around, so you need to combine information and talk to each other to get through these puzzles. And in this game, because we took all the strengths of all of the teammates, everyone had a thing that they really enjoyed about the project, and we had a very clear idea why we're doing what we're doing. And communication went really well, and the game turned out great. So yes, this is where I wanted the Inception sound. bad communication, because there's a lot of bad communication that happens. I've been both professionally and like student teams that I've been running into. So we're gonna run through like 6 of the most common examples. First one is no communication. This is the usual one, which is that you just put your head down, you keep working, and you don't say anything to anyone until it's done. Like you just you just keep typing away. And this happens so much. So I made a list of all these reasons why I've done exactly this. First of all, I feel like I have no time to communicate. I just like, no, I need to finish this. I cannot talk to anyone. I just need to keep going. Then there's actually times when I don't have any time to communicate because this launches on Friday. You need to get this done. So, okay, communication is the first thing that goes. Then I don't have a clear avenue for communication. That they just like I need to like send a Slack message or private message for someone. There's no like a clear way where I can get the information I need. So then or share it. So I don't. I'm not confident in my design. So instead of sharing it, asking for people for advice, like how I should make this better, I just get stuck with it. And I was like, maybe if I just think about it for 1 more day or 2 more days on my own, maybe I'll crack it. And of course, that doesn't help. You should just present what you have and go to people, ask them for feedback, and then you're gonna get forward, most likely. Yeah, and then I don't feel ownership over the idea or the project, because that is like the one where like if I don't care about the project, I don't care about communicating about the project. If like I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, I'm not gonna use the time to be like, okay, this is exactly what I'm doing for this idea I don't care about. So the second one is communication by info dump, which is very close to no communication, because this is that you make this amazing document that explains everything about the game, like it has all of it, and it's like it explains itself perfectly, and then you unleash it on the team, and then not like explain it at all, not even present it. You're like, here is the document, now make my game. And yeah, okay, so that's like exaggerated, but I've done exactly this. So there's an example of makeup simulator at Nordic Game Jam. When Arvi Teikari was making Baba Is You, we made a silly game about putting makeup in places where it doesn't belong, because the team was not there. So yeah. So in this game, I got to be the game designer for the first time. I always was the Unity developer. So this time I was the game designer. So I did what game designers apparently do, which is stop using Unity, took the like tool off the champions, which is Google Sheets, and I made an amazing sheet of all the interactions you can do in this game, all the like things you can combine and how they should work. And then when it was finished, I posted it on Discord. I was like, okay, everyone, go look at the design. Like this is what the game is going to be. And I'm not sure. Well, probably someone opened it. I'm sure maybe someone looked a bit into it, but yeah, basically what happened is no one did anything related to this document. They just came up with like cool art and cool like ways that they could communicate, and I was just sitting in the corner sulking. I was like, I'll never be a designer. And then I went to sleep, and then I came back the next day, and I was like, okay, that was stupid. And then I became a technical like artist, so I just grabbed Unity and made all their nice ideas look as good as possible. And I was like, okay, yeah. So that's. Okay, wait. Okay, yes. Then there's arbitrary decisions and author mentality, which is that like you have the vision, you know what this game is going to be, and then someone presents you something, and then you go, "That's not right," and that's it. That's just end of the sentence. You're like, "That's not right. It should be different." Like that is very easy to do. That you just don't. Like, because you don't have anything to base this on. You just have this idea in your head, so you just know what's right and what's wrong, but you never took the time to write out like what it is that this game is supposed to be, and you never talked about it with anyone. You just like feel like, okay, that is wrong, that is right, and then you just become this like weird machine that people put assets into, and then it goes beep or which is not a great designer in a team. Yes. Then there's like boring jargon laden unclear communication, because there's 2 ways to make people feel stupid when they're talking to you. One is assuming that they're stupid and that they don't know anything, and the other one is that assuming that they know exactly everything that you know, like that you just talk to them as if they've been thinking about this thing that you've been thinking about for the last 3 months, And that is not gonna get you anywhere. Like, they're just gonna stare at you blankly. Hopefully, if you have good communication, they're like, "What are you talking about?" And then you get to explain it. But like, this is so common. I think it's mostly programmers, especially because the whole field is filled with like technical like jargon and stuff, like really complicated systems. So this happens very often with like that they start the discussion from here when they needed to start here. So yes, I haven't met designers doing this, but I'm sure that's totally possible. Yes. Then there's watered down and sugar coated communication, which I like struggle with the most because this sounds like that this is the opposite of being kind to people. But do you know what's not nice to artists and people making creative things? Is that they give you bad work and then you tell them that, oh, it's nice, it should work. Like, that is kind of the worst thing you can do to an artist, that you're like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're dishonest about like how good the work actually is. So like, yeah, usually why I fail at this is because the timelines are so strict. So then I just don't feel like I can like take the time to like figure out with that person like why is it not quite working. But I don't know the perfect answers to this.
Is this why you're always so nice?
Possibly.
Oh, shit.
I also try to be honest.
Oh, no.
Okay, then there's in-group communication, which might be that if your team is made up of like 5 like 30-year-old white dudes that all became designers from programming, like then you can have this like situation that you might be really good at communication with each other, but if you need to communicate to another team or you get someone joining the team who is not matching this like style of communication you have, then that's just not going to work out. Like, it's way better if everyone has this like more general type of communication and understands people from different backgrounds. And this can like lead to, I've had a game jam project where someone left because we were like a student team, and then my friend joined the team, and then there was a bunch of things we left unsaid because we thought they were obvious. They were not obvious to this person. And then on the second day of the game jam, they left because they were like, I don't like, this game is going to turn out horrible. Yes. So, okay, those are the main types of bad communication I could think of. And what causes these is usually not like people being bad at communication, not caring about the game or something like that. Usually it is production related. And that is very frustrating because sometimes you have no control over any of these things. So, for example, what makes communication way harder is unreasonable time pressure, intense performance pressure, low motivation, too many responsibilities, not enough resources for communication, and insecurity. Like, these are all things I've faced working on different projects, and like it's just so much harder like to take the time to be like nice to people and like take the time to discuss things if all of these are like weighing on you. And insecurity is also like really scary and poisonous, and you should somehow create an atmosphere where you don't need to prove yourself, because if people are really insecure when they communicate, they will try to like seem smarter than they are. They will use like really big words and complicated ideas, and then they're communicating in a way that they don't understand. And then other people read that and they don't understand it because the person who wrote it didn't understand it. And then if they're also insecure, they assume that they should understand it. So then they don't ask anything. And then you just like created this blob of like messy communication that is not going to go anywhere. So if there's anything you can do to make other people feel like that, okay, they don't need to prove themselves, just, yeah, do it. Okay, so that is kind of leading already to good communication. So how do we get there? First of all, you should make communication a priority. Hopefully your team could have someone who is a producer, that their whole job is communicating or like making sure that communication works. Everyone has what they need. If you don't have it, which you most often in small teams don't, you just need to take a chunk of time from someone and dedicate that to communication. Like it's going to pay off for sure in the end. And if you don't, what usually happens is that someone just takes it upon themselves on top of all the jobs that they're doing, and that is a different kind of bad thing. And yeah, and I already talked about this, like psychological safety, the feeling that like you can make mistakes, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, like you don't need to put a stake into this game, you don't need to have like a specific thing that is yours, like you're all there just to make a great game. Whatever who contributed what shouldn't matter that much. It's just about like making the best game possible. Yeah, and low turnover is great. The better you know people, the easier it is to communicate. And usually if you have high turnover, that means that there's other problems. And diversity. Like the more different kind of people you have, the better you get at communication, because like it's just that, yeah, that's almost self-explanatory. And yeah, you should make the communication as easy as possible. This could mean anything. Like you might need like weekly meetings. Someone writes a small report every week. Like what did we decide? Why did we decide it? Especially if you have like freelancers, it should be freely available, like constant communication. Easiest way, sit next to each other on desks, because then that's as easy as communication gets. And then, well, like disagreement is not bad communication by itself. Like disagreement happens all the time. Like there's nothing you can stop it, and that's good. It's just how you react to it is that like you decide if it's bad or good. So the most important thing is prepared with reasoning, because like if you have the vision from the beginning, like you've discussed this, what this game is about, why are we making this, you have very easy things to pull to, which is like, okay, this is why we need to make that decision, and this is why we shouldn't go that way. Like you should always be ready with reasoning, because if you just make something and you put it somewhere and then you say this is the thing we're going to make, like either people get very discouraged or they just like they start arguing with you if you're not listening. And related to this, if you talk to someone and they disagree and their reasoning is better than yours, give your idea up. Like that's what you need to do. No matter how much you believe in it, if they have the better like idea, it's like drop it. Become a champion for that idea. That's what you should do. Very hard, but yeah, yes. And pick your battles, because like if anything, any change into the vision of the game is like the biggest like affront to this game, or like if you fight everything tooth and nail, even the small things, like then you won't necessarily win the fights that you think matters. So like if the assets for the art is like slightly different and like changes how the like player understands some things slightly, maybe let it go. Like if the programmer implements something in a bit strange way, like if you are confident enough in the vision, like what you're making, you know which things you can let go and which things you can keep. So sometimes just let things go. And yeah, staying open in your design if possible. This is especially in like jam games. Like if there's something that someone in the team is super excited about and they really want to do, consider it. Like consider, is it possible to pivot to that direction, to like emphasize that part of this like game? Because when people are like really motivated and having fun, they make better games. Yeah. And then there's this saying like strong opinions loosely held, which is like for game designers, like what is a good way to like handle yourself in these situations, which means that yeah, you have anything you have, any opinion you have, you believe in it very passionately and reason why it should be there, but exactly if a better idea comes along, you just drop it instantly. I'm not sure if this is like applicable to everyone, this advice. If you have like different ideas, you should go talk to me, because this feels like that this is not like a universal guide, but it's a good thing to have in your head. So okay, another example project that actually went well. So this was actually my thesis project. So this was for an actual climbing wall. This game where players climb around, move these creatures around into this portal. So this was different, that I started this solo. So for the first 4 months, I was just like researching and like prototyping. And so I had to have all the like vision discussion on my own. So instead of having the discussion, I just did a lot of research and like analyzed all the games that existed on this platform, and like noticed that there's a niche that it needs a game where non-climbers get to work together, because that's how people played this system, is that they work together, and there wasn't a game that was specifically for that. So then I had like design pillars that were for these 4 things, and when people came in like after the 4 months to finish this project, it was like very easy to like divide the work, and then I could also like talk to them with like what are the things they want to do and let them do those, and then I just grabbed anything that was left, because I didn't care anything specific part of this. I just wanted the game to be done. And it turned out really well. Yeah. So what do you do when communication is broken? When like a project is like just treading water, like it's not going anywhere, so it's completely stuck. So first of all, you should find the fun and meaning for yourself. Why are you doing this? What makes you excited about this project? It doesn't matter how big it or small it is. And then you should, like, even if the management disagrees, you should start working in discussions about like vision and direction within the team. Just like feel around what other people's think about this game, like what it should be, what it could be. And if that's not feasible, then it's a pretty bad situation already. But then you just have these discussions with yourself, write them down, so at least you know what this game like could be and could be going towards. And yeah, so your teammates are a source of inspiration. They might have really good ideas what you should be doing. And then this is probably the least applicable like advice in this whole talk, but you should then not do what you're told to do. Like if you're given a vague project that is standing still, you should find something that you think could take this to a better place. Like you start pivoting towards things that work, even if you haven't been given explicit permission to. Because if the project is stuck and it's being delayed, like how can it get any worse? Like, yeah. So you might as well break the rules and try to make it somewhere. So actually, an example. So we were tasked to make this like AR technology experience, this like AR mirror, this kind of like photo booth thing that was not that well defined. It's just like, okay, it needs to be an AR and very cool and awesome. And then we had 2 game developers working on it, and we don't know how to make apps. We didn't know how to use this technology. So we're like, this is way too much. And then for months we were prototyping and it wasn't going really anywhere. And then actually Abhishek here, right? Had an idea that we could combine some of these things we were prototyping into a really good game. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go for that, because we know how to make games, we don't know how to make apps. We made that prototype, showed it to the people in charge, and they were like, okay, that is awesome, we should do that. And we made that game, it turned out really good. And so, yeah. Yes. And then, on the counterpoint to this, is that there is a limit to this. Like, if things are not working out, there's things that you could do or should do, and like what is reasonable to do. You should think about how much you're willing to put into the project, because the next example project is me. Because I decided that I should just fix everything. I should fix the communication. I should fix the production issues. I should fix the testing and everything. So I was doing like 5 jobs at the same time, and like the hardest person to like communicate with is someone who is burning out. So like no matter how much like you care about the project and want it to succeed, like you shouldn't join the like burned out masses of the game industry, because there's like so many people that have done that. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so if these things start to sound familiar, that you don't care about anything in the project except it being over, you stop like caring about your... Oh man, I had this written down. Wait. I think I should get this right. Okay, you stop caring about anything in the project except it being over. You start feeling deeply cynical towards people in charge. Your productivity starts plummeting, or has been plummeting for a really long, or for a good while, and you are constantly stressed out or frustrated and start to behave in ways that you usually never do. You should be worried. You should go to talk to someone, preferably a doctor, but any like peer works, like your lead at work, if that works. That would have helped me. Instead, I quit, I didn't quit because I was burning out. I quit because I wanted to do new things and I had a course to teach. And then 3 months later, I understood that I had burned out, which is very common and weird, but that's how it works. So yeah, watch out for these things. And yeah. Good. And then after that public service announcement, let's talk about tools, because tools are great for communication. So my favorite tools are the snipping tool. This is the best tool in the universe. I use this like 10 times a day. You just like take parts of screens and then you send them to people. I use this for options. I use this for like gameplay screenshots. I use this for like code. All the time. Is the best thing in the world. Use it all the time. Even better, there's this program on Windows called Screen to GIF, which is the same, but it makes GIFs. And that is so much better, because then you can do like clips of gameplay and stuff. And on Mac, I'm now struggling because QuickTime Videos is almost the same, but it's not as easy to use, and now it's bothering me a lot. Awful drawings shared as photos. This is a good one. You should do this. It doesn't matter how badly you draw. Like even for like UX designers or UI designers, if you feel like you don't know anything about it, you should make just whatever weird drawings, and it's way better for them to have something to start from. And then also, one of my favorites is taking a laptop to someone's desk. Because, like, if you're like, someone sent you things that you should do, and you do them, and then they keep saying, like, that's not working, just go to the desk and then do it together, and then, ta-da! It suddenly works better. Yes, and also, no commentary Let's Play videos on YouTube are the best. Because you can just timestamp it and send like a specific thing from a specific game, because that is the best way to communicate. Also, side note, if someone knows of a Patreon channel or wants to start a Patreon channel, that just makes like really well like searchable like database of no commentary Let's Play videos. Take all of my money because I need it. I want like a video of like the Hearthstone like hit effects from 1 to 10. Because they go up like in like slight increments. I would love to have that as a resource.
So how much do you have?
Let's discuss after the talk.
Okay.
Okay. So now we get to the recap. So now this should make even more sense. So the main 3 things you need for good communication is a common shared vision. And it's common because it's like common knowledge within the team. Like it's so obvious that everyone just knows what it's about. It should be shared by everyone, even the freelancers. Everyone should have a really good idea what you're making and why. You should have a reason to care about the project. That's probably doesn't need any more explanation. Motivation is great to have. And you should know your teammates, be respectful and kind to them. Because like it's so much easier to like show things to people if you know that they watch like Buffy or something, and they're like, okay, this effect needs to be like the vampire dusting effect in Buffy, which literally happened yesterday. But anyway, so yes, the better you know your teammates, the easier the communication gets, and you should appreciate them and be accepting towards them not knowing things. So as a final example project, this is another project that went really well, which is Cracks. It's from this year from Global Game Jam, and in this team, we had an amazing 2D artist, an incredible narrative designer, and a great starting composer, like a composer starting to move into games, and then me as a glue to work it together. So with these 3 components, we made a narrative, like exploration game that is driven by music. So it combines all of the strengths of the team. And the team was like finding your way out of like anxiety, which also resonated with all the team members. And the thing is, with all of these projects that went really well, like if you have all of the 3 things together, like communication is not like difficult and complicated. It's just really easy and fun. Like it's just really easy to give feedback, and like it's fun to give feedback instead of like exhausting or like complicated. And like this is a lot about like how you should structure projects, and not so much about good communication, because it's really hard to separate all of these things, because the 3 projects that I described that went really well are also my like favorite project I ever worked on, and I think the most successful projects I ever worked on. So good communication leads to good projects, which leads to better games. So thank you. Okay. We have time for questions.
Yeah, you got the mic. I don't need it.
Testing.
Excellent. Thank you, Lassi, for awesome and fun talk. It was really great. You mentioned during your talk that one of the most important things is to be kind and have a respectful atmosphere.
Yeah.
What things in your previous projects others have done that have made you felt respected and appreciated?
I think the one thing is just asking about things that are not related to the project at all. Like I think that is what does it usually, is that you just end up on a weird sidetrack while working on the project about things that you're like enjoying, both of you, like outside of this work or project or anything. I think that's the biggest thing.
All right, thank you.
Hiilo, thank you. Really nice talk, really nice points there. And
I can second the tools that you had there, like screen cap and GIF. And actually, this is not a question. This is more of a comment that there's also a tool called ShareX. It's for Windows. Yes, yes, and that combines the screen capping and the video making, and it also can upload those directly into whatever you choose. So.
Ooh, does it capture audio?
Not confirming that.
Okay.
But yeah, it can actually capture like MP4 files as well. Pretty nicely,
Okay,
so.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
The mic has traveled to the back of the room. Amazing talk. There's something you said that really resonated with me, and I've been struggling with that for a long time. You said that there's basically two ways of making people feel stupid. One is assuming they're stupid, and the other is assuming they know the same as you or as much as you.
Yeah.
How do you solve that? So let's say like you're using a technical term or whatever.
Yeah.
You assume the person knows, like, and they're gonna feel insecure or something. Like, as you said, sometimes people, when they're insecure, they start adopting the word even though they don't know it. How can you fight against that, really?
I guess you should first ask, like, how much, like, have you been thinking about this, or how much do you know about, like, this topic, and then start to, like, gauge it, and then probably say that, okay, if you notice that they found something, like, kind of unexpected or confusing, then you can probably ask, okay, so if I say anything weird, I've been thinking about this for like 3 months in my head all the time, and now I'm so excited to get to talk about this, so if I say something that you don't understand, please ask. Like, I guess you can try that.
Cheers. Great talk on a very, very important topic. Continuing on the communication tools, I just want to give another tip. For me at FuturePlay, it's been great to have on my computer, I have like a streaming setup on that I can press a button and my whole screen gets recorded, and I even have a like webcam set up so I can talk in the corner. And the nice thing about this that it's already running in the background, so you can press at any point.
Oh my god,
and then
it's perfect.
Then you can start explaining like, yeah, this is what we set up here on Unity side, and this is, or I'm trying to explain some kind of wireframes or whatever. But yeah, that has worked really well, and also like all the compression settings are also already like good, so that the file size won't be like 2 gigabytes after 5 minutes. So so you can then send it to Slack, and it will be pretty good.
Has someone written instructions on how to set that up?
I think I'm using Streamlabs OBS. I think it's quite easy to set it up. So
okay, but it would be nice if it were like very step-by-step instructions to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's a prototyping lightning talks thing coming.
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah.
There's another one.
But that would solve my like remote communication problems, because remote communicating is so much harder, and that seems perfect.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the really great talk. I have no question. I have way too many questions, but I'm just gonna answer the previous question about how to like get over the assuming wrong about the other person's knowledge.
Yeah.
You ask them to repeat to you what you just said in their own words.
Oh yeah.
That's how you figure out what they know and how they know, how they interpreted what you said.
Yes. And then you're very nice to them if they don't quite repeat it back
exactly.
correctly. Yeah.
That's how you also understand how you need to improve your communication.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
I will also champion your talk. It was lovely. Thank you. Many of the situations you put forward, or perhaps all, seemed like there wasn't a lot of issues of power at play, but many of the workplaces we find ourselves in games are for big companies, where we have very little power, and there can be extremely toxic dynamics, and people not even aware of the fact that power dynamics are a thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for, this is like best case scenario.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is great and good to, but when you're in a situation that is kind of Kafkaesque, how does one communicate?
That is an excellent question. I think you just need to convince someone with power that couldn't change it to do something. I don't know. Like yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I wish I had a really good answer, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for really good presentation. It was really entertaining. You talked about the team having the common vision.
Yeah.
And my tip for it is that if as a designer, you have to be the biggest like hype man for the vision and for the project. So it can take it can take many forms, but from my own experience that you have fun with it. Post shitty memes, like buggy, like work in progress stuff. Just have fun. Like that, I think that's one of the like main things to keep up the hype and the passion towards that project.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, the best case is everyone is a hype man for the project.
Yeah, this is again more of a comment on software that might help with some of the issues. For remote teams in particular, I've started using a Tangle.app.
Okay.
It's you basically everyone gets a room in the app, and you can leave notes on each other's doors, and it's also a video chat app. So like I can knock on your door and come into your room, and we can have a conversation. So it's like a virtual office a little bit. But it works really well for asynchronous teams with the notes that you leave right on their door, so they see it when they come in. So if you want to like leave a message for someone who's working in the U.S., for example, on a different time, and then you can link everything you need in that note and stuff. It's worked really well for my personal project.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm glad I had this talk.
Okay, so I'm gonna, as someone who's worked with you, it was really lovely. Something that I found that you do quite differently from many other designers is that you have a very strong respect for the other disciplines. Maybe because you have a very multidisciplinary background. But what are your thoughts kind of on what is the role of a designer in a team?
Yeah, that is also so hard. Yeah. Yeah, that is so hard for me to answer because I'm also like a Unity developer, and I'm usually the person who implements everything. So like I'm the one who puts all the graphics in and all the audio in and everything. So in my view, it is the person that glues everything together. So like you're the invisible force that makes everyone else look good. But that kind of needs the like development side as well, that you can do that completely. But that's kind of the position where I want to be, that I'm not the one making the decisions. I'm just like picking up all the things that the other team members want to do and like bring them together in the best possible way. Yeah, I think someone who's like done like more pure design could probably answer, is that feasible in every case? But yeah, but ideally that.
This was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, my question was about conflict and handling disagreements. You worked on a lot of projects where you do exploration and where the references are less clear. How do you handle these situations when somebody thinks this idea is really great and then the other person thinks this idea is really great, but there's no possible way that either of you could ever know the end result? Like there's nothing.
Yeah. Usually then what happens is that, okay, how much work is that one? How much work is this one? Then you test the easier one. And if that fails, then you do the other one. I think that's usually how it goes.
Is that how you, like, you're saying, like, practically you just do it like, okay, hey, let's not disagree. Let's actually put them both into the game and then test it out.
Yeah, if you can't reason your way around a problem, you have to test it.
Yeah,
like, I don't think there's anything else you can do.
Yeah. That's smart. Yeah, I also echo the same thing, especially with small teams. Like, and in the exploration phase, it's so critical to just try stuff, like without having kind of theory crafting, which is like this idea you put the game inside your head and like build it out. It's like this, but then when you actually put it in the game, it becomes something different.
And I'm also the worst programmer in the world. I only do hacks. I don't develop anything in the reasonable way. I just want to get anything to work as fast as possible so I can see if the design works, and then we can fix the code later.
Sounds smart.
Yeah, thank you for the talk as well. I just wanted to give a small tip on how to make your environment safe for your team members.
Okay.
Maybe can help. And if someone messes up something, try not to. It's useful not to focus on who did wrong.
Yes.
And to just what went wrong and what kind of process was not set up in a way that prevented the error in the first place. Because if people do not feel that they are getting put on the spot themselves, then they feel it's easier to go forward with the error.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Yeah, it's exactly that way. And also, in terms of also burnout, that it's not the fault of the person burning out; it's the circumstances that caused it to happen. Same with many mistakes happen in games. Yeah.
So if there are no more questions, anybody?